We've been pouring a lot of concrete curbing on our property. It's great for keeping asphalt millings in place, as well as great edging around a house or planting areas, and makes mowing a lot easier with less time weed whipping. Our property has a lot of trees where the mower just can't get close enough due to the roots or whatever. And then weeds and everything else grows in these areas, which means more weed whipping. So we want to pour concrete curbs around the trees to hold in mulch and make upkeep easier. Easy for a couple of trees, but we have dozens, so we want to make reusable concrete curb forms. Something easy we can plop down without too much hassle. So let's do this. First, we started with a crude drawing to get our measurements figured out, as these forms need to fit around smaller trees as well as really large trees. I'll spare you the math and just say that we found that an 8-foot strip of curved MDF fits nicely into a pair of 54-inch 2x, while allowing the ends to stick out so we can clamp in straight sections on large trees. There's then a 20-inch long support piece that connects on a 45-degree angle to the MDF. The next drawing you see here is for the U-clamps we're making. They're essentially just U-shaped clamps made from 2x that will hold both sides of the MDF forms together. Each clamp will use 4 9-inch pieces, and since we're only using 54 inches out of the 8-foot 2x, we can use some of the leftovers for these clamps. You'll need 3 U-clamps per curve. We have 4 curves, so that's 12 U-clamps, which means we're cutting 48 2x down to 9 inches each. Let's get cutting. I cut my 8-foot 2x down to 54 inches first. With the leftovers, we can cut 4 20-inch pieces. I cut 2 45-degree miters on one end of these 20-inch pieces, creating a 90-degree angle that fits into the corner of the form later on. For the MDF, I just ran a sheet of 1/2-inch 4x8 MDF through the table saw to make 4-inch wide MDF strips. You'll need at least 8 for the forms, but I would cut as many as you can out of a 4x8 sheet. You might break one during assembly, and these extras can be used for straight pieces to increase the diameter of the circle for large trees. So I set up an assembly line and cut 48 pieces, all 9 inches long, to make these U-clamps. I assembled 2 54-inch pieces by butting them together and screwing in a couple of 3-inch deck screws. The 20-inch long piece gets screwed into the corner of the form with more deck screws. Grab a few shop clamps and gently and slowly pull one MDF strip towards the 20-inch 2x. Go slow here, it's easy to crack the MDF. Wetting it may help. I had a spray bottle and soaked a few, but for the most part, going slow on a dry piece worked fine. Besides, MDF and water aren't great friends. Once the middle of the MDF is pulled in, throw a couple of 1.5-inch deck screws through the MDF and into the 20-inch 2x to hold it. I used my shop clamps to clamp the ends of the MDF strip to the 54-inch 2x's and then added screws on the ends. Now we need to make our U-clamps. I pre-drilled and then used the same 3-inch deck screws to make U-shapes using 3 9-inch 2x's. Then I add a 4th 9-inch 2x as a brace near the top, as you can see here. This is a brace for the U-clamp. You'll need 3 U-clamps per form. Back to the form, grab another MDF strip, and we're going to pull it slowly and gently just like the first one. This time, as you pull the center in, use one of the U-clamps to hold it. Let it sit like this overnight, as it will tend to hold its shape a bit and make it less likely to break when used. We painted ours with some old junk paint to make them last longer, as the forms may sit out in the yard for a day or two before or after a pour. The paint will keep the wood from absorbing moisture so they don't warp and get ruined. Notice there is no paint on the inside of the MDF pieces. That's because before we pour concrete, we brush on some used motor oil on the inside as a mold release. Any oil will do, but used motor oil is often sitting around and free. Using the forms is beyond easy. Lay them out, connect them together, using cut-down MDF strips for the straight sections between forms. A few different straight section sizes will help the forms fit easily to any size tree. We use short deck screws to connect everything together. If your land isn't level, a few wood spikes help level things out. After the pour, you can use sand or dirt to make a gentle ramp up to the top of the concrete, and in time grass will grow here and fill it all in. For the inside, add some mulch, keeping it a bit away from the trunk of the tree. That's it. Simple, cheap, reusable, curved forms that assemble and disassemble in minutes.